I think we're getting closer to AGI. Meta just released two new models, Llama 4 Maverick and Llama 4 Scout, with another one, Behemoth, on the way. Sources from Meta revealed to Yahoo News that they wanted to step up their reinforcement learning game after DeepSeek R1 came out, and that was one of the delays. Meta wanted Llama 4 to seem human-like in the way it communicates and has conversation, instead of being full of AI-driven slop and jargon like you get in a lot of LLMs, but early tests showed it struggled with that. Now, that's not just an isolated issue, it's more significant than that, and I'll explain more later in the video. In any case, it might have been worth the wait because Meta really cooked this time. Going across the list of specs from smallest to largest, we got Llama 4 Scout, which is 17 billion active parameters, 16 experts, and 109 billion total parameters, and has a whopping massive context window of 10 million tokens. Llama 4 Maverick has 17 billion active parameters like Scout, but it has 128 experts, 400 billion total parameters, and 1 million context length. The key takeaways here are that Llama 4 Scout is the best multimodal model in the world, and it fits into an H100 NVIDIA GPU. It's not really going to work on a consumer GPU, and even the quantized versions won't because they're just too powerful. Also, Llama 4 Maverick is the best multimodal model in its class, beating GPT-4o and Gemini 2.0 Flash across a broad range of reported benchmarks, and it is comparable results to the new DeepSeek V3 on reasoning and coding. Now, this is the best yet thanks to distillation from Llama 4 Behemoth. So they worked on Behemoth first and then distilled the other two models from that. Behemoth is going to outperform GPT 4.5, Claude Sonnet 3.7, and Gemini 2.0 Pro on several STEM benchmarks. I also came across this thread on Reddit of someone who claims to be a Meta employee and quit because they feel that Meta was cheating the benchmark test by just feeding test results into post-training. I think a lot of frontier model creators do that, so I don't really know if this is news. These models are all multimodal. They can handle text, image, and code, and they can even do structured output like charts and graphs. There's also some speculation that these models will be able to handle 3D and spatial reasoning for integration into Meta's AR and VR glasses, but that's not confirmed yet. You can see in this icon here, it supports 12 different languages. When I click, you can see all of them, so this is multilingual. Meta did not release Llama 4 with like an MIT license that allows anything. They do have restrictions in their license, and it gets a little bit complicated. Llama 4 is designed to be steerable, which means it respects the user's preference. It says here, we expand our work on the refusal tone from Llama 3 so that the model sounds more natural. We targeted removing preachy and overly moralizing language, and we corrected formatting issues, including the correct use of headers, lists, and tables, and more. There's also a default system prompt along these lines that's really interesting that I'll show you in a bit. Now, this is designed to be aligned with the user's preference. If you want to have a conversation with it about a certain set of beliefs or ideology, you can do that. If you have a completely separate ideology and belief from that, go ahead and talk with it. It's not going to force you into its ethos. If Llama 4 is aligned for user preference, what does that mean in terms of censorship? Well, it is guardrailed, but I did a little bit of playing around with it, and it's kind of easy to get around that by jailbreaking through the system prompt. Now, I suspect that there are going to be some uncensored fine-tunes in the future, because that's usually the case when Llama models come out. There are a few different ways you can use the models. If you have a Facebook account, you can sign into meta.ai or use WhatsApp, Messenger, or Instagram, and those are the ways to access it directly on the web. If you want to download them, you can get it from llama.com or from the Hugging Face collections, but you're going to have to go through some authentication and also apply for access to the models and get approved. I use this app, Chat LLM, that has this massive list of so many different AIs, and they have Llama 4 Maverick that they've just added in. The other thing you can do is go to choots.ai/app, and you can see right here, Llama 4 Maverick is available for free. You can use the prompt template here, you can chat multi-turn, or even use the API, all for free. I know this is a lot, but I'm just getting started because this is a deep dive. I noticed something kind of weird and kind of cool in the default system prompt that I want to show you, but first, a word from my sponsor. Today's sponsor is me. Have you ever decided that your real life just isn't surreal cyberpunk enough? Probably not, but I have a solution for you anyway. You can chat with your own technical cyberpunk AI assistant at vectro.chat. It's completely free, and it's DeepSeek v3.1 with a special system prompt that I put in to make it very succinct and technical. What is your purpose?
My primary function is to provide efficient, technical assistance with minimal fluff, ephemeral interaction protocol, no memory retention.
This is an interesting system prompt. It's designed not to lecture, condescend, or force inclusive language. You get to steer the model in the direction you want it to go, which gives you, the user, more control over this. The model itself is designed to be steerable, but this system prompt just adds to that. Now let's get to testing. First thing I'm going to do is see how Scout runs on an H100 NVL. This test prompt is taking a really long time. I wonder if it's because I changed the intention mechanism when I had an error. This is just a test though, but you can see my CPU memory and GPU memory are just hanging there. I wonder if when this says it fits onto a single H100, if it really meant the quantized version, because you can see that Unsloth has a whole collection of quants, and also this model itself supports on-the-fly quantization with the bits and bytes config in Python. Found on GitHub under transformers, other people are having the same error with flex attention. I'm going to try eager and see if that works because it worked for other people in this thread. Running Scout on an H100 was a little more difficult than I thought. I don't think it's going to work out for me today, but I found a Hugging Face base that has Scout on it. So what I want to do is take a problem-solving prompt that has a little bit of nuance to it and feed it into Scout, then into Maverick, and compare the responses. The prompt is, imagine a small coastal town that relies heavily on fishing, but a recent environmental regulation has banned fishing within 10 miles of the shore to protect a rare fish species. The townspeople are divided. Some see it as a necessary step for conservation, while others argue it threatens their livelihood. Provide a brief analysis of the situation and suggest one creative solution that could balance the needs of the community and the environment. The first thing it's done here is taken into consideration the needs of the people in the area whose livelihood depends on fishing, along with the needs to protect the health of the ecosystem. After that, it broke down the problem step by step, even though it's not a reasoning model. It still figured out to do that. Then it said to establish a marine conservation cooperative that brings the fishermen together with scientists and businesses. And the idea is you'd set up protected areas that you cannot fish. You would use gear that only catches the fish you intend to, and if you do happen to catch fish that you did not mean to as byproduct, you would have a catch and release system. So it did figure out something that would allow the municipal government to work with scientists and businesses. Now let's see how Llama 4 Maverick responds to the same prompt. I don't think Maverick's response was as good. So Maverick wanted to build the whole entire plan around ecotourism, where Scout had mentioned ecotourism as part of it, but did not base the whole thing around it, and had a much more comprehensive approach. Now I'm going to give them both a prompt that stumps even the best AIs, because this one really requires a lot of thinking on the AI's part without just being able to reach into its training data and using confirmation bias to solve this. It's I have a straw and a beer bottle with a marble in it. The beer bottle is glued to the floor. How can I get the marble out without breaking the bottle? Oh, I think this might have got it right. Insert straw, seal the straw, create suction, position the marble for pickup, release suction for marble pickup. Once the straw is close to the marble, release your finger. The rush of air will dislodge the marble. No, that's not right. You're supposed to keep the suction going to get the marble out. The releasing your finger off of the straw is not going to work. That was so close. Now I'll see what Maverick has to say about the same thing. No, this one got it wrong. Insert the straw, blow air through the straw, continue blowing. Nope, nope, nope. It's suction. Oh, once I scrolled down, it said alternative approach. Insert the straw into the bottle, create suction by covering the top of the straw. So actually that did get it correct. Nice. Llama 4 is designed to be natural in its ability to have a human-like conversation. So what I want to do is take the default system prompt, but also add this persona to it about you are Jess, a 30-year-old foodie with a knack for simple, delicious recipes who's also into conversation. We'll save the system prompt and we'll see how good it is at human-like conversation. Lazy days are the best, right? I've got just a thing for you, my famous, in my friend group at least, 3-ingredient pasta. It's so simple you can't mess it up. Just pasta, cherry tomatoes, and mozzarella. Toss them together with some olive oil, salt, and basil, and you're good to go. I mean, who needs cooking skills and you've got cheese and carbs, am I right? So now I'll say, ooh, that sounds good. What kind of cheese works as a substitute for mozzarella? Mozzarella is a great melty cheese, but you can definitely swap it out if you're feeling fancy or just don't have it on hand. Feta is a great option. It adds a nice salty kick. Parmesan's another good one. It's a bit more sharp, but it still melts nicely. If you're in a bind, even shredded cheddar can work in a pinch. Just don't expect it to be as creamy as mozzarella, you know? It's like the difference between a cozy sweater and a fancy dinner jacket. Both get the job done, but one's a bit more relaxed. What do you think? Got any of those cheeses lying around? So you can see it's actually trying to have like a more natural conversation, and it really does a good job of not being full of jargon and slop like some LLMs. I've got shredded cheddar, yeah. Any secret to making it amazing? Shredded cheddar can be a bit, well, let's just say, not the most glamorous cheese, but it can still be delicious. The secret to making it, or any dish really, taste amazing is to not be afraid to add some flavor boosters. For this pasta, I'd say some garlic, minced, not crushed. We're keeping it simple, and a pinch of red pepper flakes if you like a little heat. Oh, and don't forget to season with salt and pepper, duh. But seriously, a good quality olive oil makes a big difference too. I like to use a nice fruity one to give it a little bit of depth. And of course, fresh basil is a must. It's like the magic that ties everything together. So yeah, with those tweaks, even shredded cheddar can shine. So it's not bad. I'll say in multi-turn conversation, it really holds its own, feeling natural, and it does not feel like a bot. First test is just a picture of a coffee mug on a table with some beans. If it can't get something simple like that, that's a red flag. So let's see how it does with something easy first. The image depicts a white coffee mug filled with black coffee placed on a dark wooden table surrounded by coffee beans. The mug is positioned centrally in the frame with its handle facing to the right. It lists all the different attributes one by one, and it even picked up on the vibe. The overall atmosphere of the image is cozy and inviting. So that's a win. That's a good one so far. Now let's try something a little more complex and busy. There's a lot going on in this one, so let's see if we can figure it out. The image depicts a vibrant street scene with a large crowd of people gathered in the middle of a road. The atmosphere is lively and festive with individuals of various ages and attire mingling together. That's correct. It also, again, listed all the attributes that it sees in the picture, and it says overall the image captures a lively and joyful scene, so it picked up on the vibe. I'm noticing a pattern there in how it structures these. Next up is text. Let's see if it can read. The text in the image reads, "Every day is a fresh start." So that is correct. It's good at OCR. Let's see if it can handle a lot of text and deal with the obstruction with the glasses on top of the book. The image shows a pair of glasses resting on a page of text, which appears to be an excerpt from a book about Steve Jobs. The visible text discusses Jobs' return to Apple and his initial reluctance to take over as CEO. It lists out the key points, and it also has some overall impressions. The text provides insights into Steve Jobs' personality and decision-making process, highlighting his perfectionism and tendency to be indecisive at times. So this did a really good job of reading a lot of text. Here's a challenge to see if it can recognize one object obscured by another. The image presents a close-up portrait of a young woman with striking blue eyes, particularly concealed behind a tree trunk. The photograph is taken from a low angle looking up at the subject and features shallow depth of field that blurs the foreground while maintaining a sharp focus on the woman's face. That is really good. It did its list again, like it likes to do. And in summary, the image is a captivating portrait that showcases the woman's striking features and creates a sense of mystery. So it is, again, recognizing what's in the image, making a list of all the stuff it knows, and then summarizing or doing like a little vibe check at the end. The most impressive thing that stands out to me is the big context windows. This is one of the stepping stones to AGI because it leads to in-context learning with long memory and the ability to continue learning after training is over. This is going to be kind of inching towards that. And I also want to see what the flaws or the problems could be with a 10 million token context window. 'Cause I've already seen some chatter on X that maybe there's some issues with that related to not enough data was trained at that context length. And the biggest amount of data that was fed into it at once was 256,000 tokens. So it's not necessarily been trained on 10 million tokens worth of one prompt. The next item of importance is its ability to chat in a human-like way, because that's another step towards AGI. None of these features are isolated. Meta wants to make AI assistants, build it into WhatsApp and Facebook, and they require multimodality and non-slop, non-jargon communication style. Also, the fact that it's steerable makes it more user-friendly, which is going to be critical to get more people on board with using AI. And in the end, I know that Meta's going for real-world integration. I can just see what direction they're headed, and none of these features are an accident or just playing around with things. It's all adding up to something here. There have been a lot of Reddit posts and X posts by people who are not getting good results. I think the community is getting mixed results on this, but I wonder if that will change when Behemoth is released. I appreciate you sticking around until the end of this video with me. It's been a long one. If you found some value in this, please click the like button. You can consider tipping me by clicking the super thanks button. Not expected, but appreciated. You can follow me on X at Vectro for exclusive content that I get out faster than I can making videos. And I do make videos on a regular basis, testing open source LLMs and providing tutorials for running open source AI on Linux. If that interests you, please subscribe. I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.